Hello and bienvenue to Life's Questions and Lessons. I'm your host, Charity Youngblood, and I am so excited that you are here with me today. This season, we're going deep to help you rediscover who you are. So let's get started with today's question. What is an alternative way to view your job title? What is an alternative way to view your job title? So, this season, we're really building upon each episode to give you a comprehensive understanding of the challenge, the issue that you are dealing with, and that I myself have dealt with. And if you haven't already, definitely listen to the previous episodes to really kind of help you pull everything together. There's a bit of a process when we're learning to ask ourselves the right questions. And if you're unfamiliar with this work, or if this is kind of something that you struggle with, I really wanted to present it in a way to where you go, oh, okay, this is the first question. This is the next question. That said, whatever insights come up for you, whatever, you feel that you need to explore, go with that. That's always going to lead you. Your inner wisdom is always going to lead you to exactly where, you're meant to be. So this is going to be the last question of our series. What is an alternative way to view your job title? So one of the reasons that I started this podcast was really to make sure that I shared my alternative perspective. There's a lot of messaging, out there that makes sense for some, that just didn't resonate with me. So I want to always provide an alternative perspective so that if you're able to, if you're not resonating with something out there, that you kind of see there's an alternative. So when I really went through my rediscovery, my path to rediscovery, it started with my job being a 33-year-old executive assistant, and I did not want to be there. And I started this work and really started to work on myself and asking myself these questions. And what I found was when I was able to come to the understanding that I did not want to view my job title as my identity. What I do for work is not who I am. One of the first things I started doing was when people asked that question of what do you do, I would say something like, what I do doesn't have anything to do with who I am, but I'm happy to share with you who I am. And that alone is, really the alternative way that I started viewing my job title. I started viewing it for what it is. It's a job. And more importantly, I started to ask myself, how do I want to view my job title? Like, how do I want to categorize what I do? What is that purpose? And through those questions, I actually was able to create two distinct categories. So I have an income job. The sole purpose of my income job is to provide income for my life. And I have an impact job. And the sole purpose of my impact job is to do work that fuels me. It's how I live out my purpose. And my impact job, in case you're wondering, is this work, right? Is this podcast, is the work that I, do on LinkedIn. It's spreading this message of asking yourself the right questions to rediscover who you are. So that is definitely, my journey and how I came to really create the alternative way to view who I am and kind of separate who I am from what I do. And I encourage you to do the same for yourself. If you kind of don't compartmentalize, like that's who I am, I kind of put things into boxes and put things into perspective because that's how my brain works. Like if I'm in the kitchen, everything in the kitchen needs to be a kitchen utensil. I don't have books in the kitchen because I'm not reading and cooking. That's who I am. And that's why this work is so important. I know, and I understand who I am and how I think. So if if that doesn't resonate with you, having, an impact job and an income job, my next question really would be, what does? What is going to really improve your self-confidence and your self-esteem in a way that you're able to detach who you are with what you do. Like, what does that look like for you? And really start playing with this. And sometimes you can look to others to get some inspiration if you're completely like, oh, I don't really know. Sometimes you can look to other people's stories. And I highly suggest looking at people's stories who don't fit the typical, societal, definition. So really look for people who have an alternative way of looking at their job or looking at their work. So those are the things I had on my heart today. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with me today. As always, please rate and review this podcast wherever you're listening to my words. And if this episode was helpful for you, please share it. Until next time, take care.